Hello, Steve Fletcher here, and welcome to the Everything Guide to Learning to Play Guitar. Before we get started, can I ask you please to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube page, really help me grow my online business. And if you've got a moment, just check out all my social media. There's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, as well as my website. The links are all down there in the description. If you need a little friendly reminder of everything that we've done so far in the Everything Guide to Learning to Play Guitar, then you can follow the link up there in the corner and it will take you to the playlist for everything that we've been through. So we're starting a brand new section in this video. We're doing tabulature, combining the tabulature and the chords to get songs that sound that little bit more accurate to how they really are. All the sheets that accompany every one of these videos is available direct from me. If you head over to my website, the link is down there in the description. I think it's really important, the further down the road of the Everything Guide to Learning Guitar, the further down the road you go, the more important it is that you do get those sheets because you do need that visual accompaniment to go alongside what I'm saying. If you're a student of mine, either in school or over Zoom, then you will get those sheets automatically. So if you're watching this video, then you should already have that sheet. If you're just watching me out there in internet land, then head over to my website where you can download those sheets. Now, what on earth is tabulature? Now, if you're going to continue to play contemporary guitar, you do have to learn how to read tabulature. Seeing as most sort of rock and pop guitarists aren't classically trained, they haven't learned how to read music. We will get to sort of a little bit of basic music notation in this section. But tabulature, or tab as we'll frequently call it, was developed so that all those guitarists who can't read music could write down and read each other's songs. It's a brilliant method of learning to play guitar. So tab is pretty easy to understand. There's a few little things that you might just need help to wrap your head around. In a nutshell, you have something that looks like this, and you have 6 lines going across your page. Each one of those lines represents, you guessed it, one of the strings on your guitar. Now, if you're looking at this diagram, now I'm showing you this diagram at first, which shows the strings in their relative thicknesses, okay? When you see tab just sort of written normally, it'll look something like this. And even to go sort of a further step, if you see it written alongside music notation, it'll look something like this. But yeah, we're going back to this picture that shows the lines, the strings written on tab as you will be expected to read them. Now, the thing that can get slightly confusing at first when you're looking at this diagram is it kind of looks like you're looking at it upside down. Now, you might have expected string 6, your low E string, to be on the top, the line at the top, because it's at the top of the guitar, right? It's up in the air, it's nearest to the ceiling. So why, when you're looking at the tabulature, is it closest to the floor? Well, there's a couple of different reasons for that. The biggest one, the sort of end-all reason is that yes, the 6th string, the E string, is physically the highest. It does give you the guitar's lowest note compared to string 1, the top E, which gives you the highest of the open strings. And that should clue you in as to why that 6th string line is on the bottom of the tab. That's because when we write music, all music is written according to pitch. Okay, now pitch is how high or how low a note is. So this string right here, your bottom E string, is the lowest note. Therefore, it's the lowest line. The other thing as well, which I find slightly curious, is sort of back in the day, maybe not so much on screens these days, well maybe, But you would have, you'd have your guitar on your knee like this, and you would have your sheet music, your tabulature music in front of you in your book. Remember those? You'd have your music there, and you are sort of looking at it going across from you. I mean, as you're sitting with your guitar here, the bottom E string is sort of nearest to your face, and as you're sort of looking across your music there, again, that sixth string is sort of closest to your face. So you do get that impression when you're looking at your tab in front of you on a book or there, on a music stand. You do get that impression that you are looking at your guitar as you are looking at it, not how the world is looking at it. I hope that made sense. Now, what we then add to the tabulature is numbers. So we get something that looks like this. So you get zeros and threes and ones and twos and fours and fives and sevens and eights placed on those lines on each individual string. Now, what on earth do they mean? Those numbers are the frets that you put your finger on one after the other. So to give you that, for instance, so right here, we've got fret 3 written on string 2, on your B string. So we would play fret 3 on your B string. Now you'll notice I only played that note. I didn't do a strum like we've done with your chords. We only played that one note that's written. So to give you another, for instance, here we have a fret 2 written on the top E string, on that first string. So again, we would play that fret 2 there. Now when you have a 0 like this, you can see this 0 has been positioned on string 3, the G string. Now what do we do with that? We don't play a 0 fret, or do we? Yes, of course we do. The 0 means an open string, so there's no hand used at all, and you're just plucking that third string in this instance. So let's sort of try and extend that a little bit. Now, what I want you to do to keep full flexibility with your fingers, all right, I'm going to ask you to try and match your finger number to whatever fret number it's asking you to play. So if it's playing fret number 1, try and use finger number 1. If it's asking you to play fret number 2, finger number 2. If it's asking you to play finger number 3, you can see where I'm going with this, use finger number 3 and finger number 4. There's no real reason for that other than I want you to be using all your fingers equally. I mean, if I played fret number 3 with finger number 1, it still sounds the same as if I used finger number 2 or finger number 3 or finger number 4. But generally what you find then happens is people start doing things like this. And just using one finger for everything. And that's really bad guitar playing practice. Okay, so just try and use the right fingers for the right frets. Okay, I always usually say, keep your hands still and move your fingers. It's easier said than done at first, but you will get the hang of it. Now, as we move further and further down the guitar neck, of course, we start entering a different ball game with regards to which finger that we use. But when we get to that stage, we shall cover it, which we will in a few songs' time. So let's open this up and start actually trying to play a song. On that sheet that you've hopefully downloaded from my website, link in the description, you will have a sort of a little tab diagram that looks like this. Now, what I've done to show you the order of the notes that you're going to play, I've added those blue arrows. You won't see those again. This is just something that I've put on there to help you know the order that you play. So you'd go 2 zeros, 2 open third strings, then 2 fret 3s on string 2, 2 open strings on string 1, 1 single fret 3 on string 2, and so on. Okay? Taking your time, it will sound something like this. go. And fingers crossed, you should be able to hear that that is the first section of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So just, spend your time practicing that. So that you can get those notes nice and smooth. I'm plucking really gently here. I'm not giving it the beans there. Plucking it really nice and gently there to make those notes sound nice. Giving it everything a good squeeze here, just like you would if you were playing a chord. You'd give everything a good squeeze. But squeezing there, gentle there, and you'll get that coming out. Now we'll get into some pretty decent tunes over the rest of this section. All right. On the sheets that you've downloaded, link in the description. On the sheet that you've downloaded there's several other nursery rhymes and very, very common songs. The reason I've picked those is not because I want everyone to laugh at you or lose any of your street cred or anything like that. The reason I've picked those is quite simply because the chances are really, really good that you will know what they're supposed to sound like. Okay, so songs like Happy Birthday, for instance, you know what Happy Birthday is supposed to sound like. You've heard it 100 times a year every time someone sings it at someone's birthday party. So you know when you're trying to play it on your guitar if you're playing it wrong. You know if you're playing it wrong because it will sound wrong. So you need to just sort of start trying to train your ear to listening out for those notes. So if I play the first part of Happy Birthday and play a note deliberately wrong, we'll see. There it is. It sticks out like a sore thumb when you're playing that note wrong. So that's what we want from you. That's why I'm giving you, at first, these really, really very simple, basic beginner songs, just so that you can have a good practice at getting your fingers in the right places for those tabulatures and just learning to listen to what you're playing and go, oh, hang on a minute, ooh, that's not right. Having a beautifully well-tuned guitar will help as well. So check out my tuning guide as well if you think that your guitar might be slightly out of tune. But you should be able to tune your guitar by now. So as we go into the next section, watching professional guitarists play, one of the things you'll notice is just how easily they're able to switch between playing individual tabs and then chucking a chord in there. That's something that you should be able to do really, really easily. Plus, you've spent such a long time getting to this point where you've learnt, a huge array of chords. You've learned a massive monumental amount. In fact, let's be honest, you've pretty much learned every chord that you're ever going to need, bar a few crazy jazz chords and stuff that we'll get to. So it would be a shame if we then just sort of veered off the chords and just spent all our time working on tabs. You'd be amazed how quickly those chords would just fall out of your brain. So we are going to just try our very best to keep everything, floating around in your head. Whilst we practice these tabs, we're also going to be throwing those old-fashioned chords at you as well. So what we've got is a dozen or so songs that perfectly combine the idea of simple tabs in song riffs and stuff, and then the chords throughout as normal. As usual, I've started things off quite simple, quite simply, I should say, and then increase the difficulty as we've gone along. And as usual, you'll probably find that one or two of these songs you sail through really, really easily, and then you get that one song that just drives you a little bit up the wall. Just give it that little bit of time to marinate and get in there. Now, what we're doing is we're really, and this is brilliant actually, is we're really getting into this stage of moving further and further away from the learner stage. And I think it's quite easy to say that we're right into the sort of intermediate level of playing guitar. And what that means is we're really trying to get you playing songs exactly as they are on the records. No, we might not be getting into all that big scary soloing yet. We will be soon, but just not yet. But what we are doing is presenting songs as they should be presented for, you know, the one person in the bedroom, in the living room, playing along. Riffs, chords, hooks, all that kind of stuff. It's starting to get a really exciting thing. I love this section. And as we go further and further along with the tabulature, we are going to take that unavoidable step of starting to look at music notation and a little bit of musical theory. Please don't be terrified by the idea of that. Okay? It's not as hard as you think. It's more straightforward than you imagine, and it will make you a better guitarist and, importantly, a much better musician. So thanks for watching. Please leave me some nice comments. Please check out all my social media, my website down there in the description. And we'll see you next time, boys and girls. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.